Okay, this is a pack sack that I always use, and it's 3 snowboarders. Okay, and obviously the name of the company is West Beach. And what has that got to do with anything right now? Well, I've got someone going by on an electric bike. There's a hole. This is a park bench, and there is a hole. I don't know if this was a gopher, but if you came here at night, it's quite likely you might trip on that hole. Anyway, what is it about gopher holes? The famous comedy movie is called Caddyshack. All about the greenskeeper, Bill Murray, trying to eradicate a pest called a gopher. Okay, this is actually the latitude and longitude of Siesta Key, Florida. But I just thought of that, and I was thinking about directions, and I thought of the Alfred Hitchcock movie, North by Northwest. And I don't even know the movie. I think I might have seen part of it one time, but I can't remember anything about North by Northwest. And all I know about Alfred Hitchcock is he's kind of like a... Good God, I cannot believe the number of sirens since I've started on this walk. I have got ambulances going, they were going north with the sirens going, and now I've got another ambulance going south. And I had like fire trucks going around. What on earth is going on right now? Now, as I was saying in part 1 of my lecture, this is consciousness that you're living in. It looks like physical reality. Anybody else would say it's physical reality. But you are a consciousness being, and everything you experience is within your consciousness. And when you meet other humans, you are in their consciousness. And, the trees, believe it or not, have consciousness. You can read about it in the Secret Life of Plants book. Anyway, the whole point of the matter is something crazy is going on here in my present moment now because I've got sirens going off like crazy. So in consciousness, what does sirens represent? Well, in physical reality, sirens basically means emergency, right? Emergency. And in Greek mythology, sirens were well, you're going to have to look up sirens and Greek mythology in Google or Firefox or whatever you're using as a search engine. I keep saying, use Google, but I don't always use Google. I use another one called DuckDuckDuck or something in Firefox. So I've got my Google Chrome on my smartphone, and that uses Google search, and then I've got Firefox and I've got it set to DuckDuckDuck so that I can get different search results. And then I also have Opera So I've got 3 different browsers on this smartphone, and I don't know what I've got Opera set to because I haven't used it I can't remember the last time I used it. But the whole point of the matter is, if you're always using just one search engine, you're at the mercy of that search engine company. And I like to have a variety of resources, and I don't want to be dependent on one. So use maybe a new search engine. If you're always using Google, use something else, just so you get used to using another one, and then you'll start to figure out that there is some choice. There's not a lot of search engines. There used to be way more. Anyway, so look up sirens and Greek mythology. That's your homework. You don't really need to do that. I don't see anything to do with it. But maybe if you go there, maybe something will be relevant for you. What else is going on causing an emergency in consciousness right now? I mean, in physical terms, there must have been someone having a health crisis or a car accident or something. And they were going north, one ambulance, and then we had another ambulance going south, both with... Why didn't the ambulance in the south stay in the south and deal with the emergency? I guess it was a matter of timing. Why do these things always happen to me? Why do I feel strange energy? I was telling you in the first lecture, I'm feeling really weird energy in my right arm, the one that's holding the smartphone. And I've told you before in previous lectures, I am very sensitive to energies. Some people say, well, it's electric energy from your phone or something. No. Energies, we're trained to think of energy as being like electricity or radiation, like sunshine, the warmth of a sunshine and light, X-rays, gamma rays, microwaves, radio waves, potential energy, kinetic energy. But all of these things that we think are physical energies are all consciousness things that we just happen to call physical. But they are all consciousness things. So if I'm feeling this weird feeling in my arm and I'm hearing sirens going all over the place, I didn't call for an ambulance for me. I didn't call for an ambulance at all. I don't see the accident or the heart attack around me. But I'm experiencing it in my consciousness and this weird feeling in my arm. And I'm very sensitive to these kinds of things. So I want to know, what does it mean? Okay, I just took a little break, and so I'm at a new place on my walk, and I'm trying to talk my way through. This is what I do. This is my process day to day. As you know, I talk to this smartphone because it helps me. It's basically my mental health smartphone. Because if I don't have a smartphone to talk to, people think I'm insane talking to myself. But if I'm talking to an object like a phone, they think either I'm making a video, probably not so much, but talking to a friend on the video phone or something. I don't know where I want to go with this now. I gotta take another pause. Okay. No, I was thinking about physicality, being incarnated in physicality. And when you're a child, if you're a healthy child, there's nothing that, at least in my youth, nothing I wanted to do more than go and play with my physicality. Reminds me of the Chuck Berry song, My Ding-a-ling. But, that's basically what kids in my day, we had our bikes, and we had our friends, and we had hide and go seek. I loved hide and go seek. Loved it. Not when I was like 6, but when I was maybe like maybe 11. Because you could run fast when you were 11, you could hide, and you were smart enough to know how to hide, and you were smart enough to watch the other players in the hide and seek game. And we used to play with maybe 8 people at a time, and we'd play, in multiple yards and, in a neighborhood. So it was like a major fun thing to do. And over the years, I did many different kinds of sports. Some team sports, some individual sports, many different kinds of sports. And these are all about the physicality. And for humans, physicality is wonderful. And then if I had quiet time, I did like television. I like to watch my shows. Addicted to some shows over the years. Different kinds of shows. And I love to read books. We never had computers in those days. We never had the internet. So we had books. And I was always going to the library. Always, always, always. So I always had all these things to do. So that's what we're here to do if we don't have all kinds of insurrection issues. And then, as people... some children are born and they have terrible diseases. And everyone's heart breaks when they hear about these kind of children. And, as people get older, usually it starts in your 20s. Should be the prime of life in your 20s, but for a lot of people, they start having back issues in their 20s. They're doing physical labor at work, and something happens to their back. Or they're playing hockey, and they get some kind of knee cartilage problem. And as you age, you can't help but slow down. So the last half of life, your physicality is cramped for many people. Maybe you put on too much weight and you find it hard to do physical things. But, if you had your druthers, if you had your preferences the way you'd want it, you would be, let's say 18 years old in an 18-year-old body with the energy of, very energetic youth. And you would have play all the time. In our world, we don't. We don't have. We've got work. I gotta go to work. So the insurrection of the onion layers peeling away that I thought were ego covering your divinity or your soul. I'm getting a different viewpoint this time, and it is about parasites. Parasites are the problem. Everyone knows what a parasite is. It's an organism that is of no benefit to you, but it is feeding on you. Okay. Now, so you're having an insurrection over the amount of parasitism that's going on in your world, especially with regard to parasites, preying on you. No one understands what is going on in the big picture here in the reality game. People keep trying to want to get to maybe, I don't know, some people like watching the news to figure out what's going on. Some people like to listen to psychics on YouTube. Some people can't stand anything to do with computers and they like to go fishing every chance that they get. Some people like to drink booze. Anyway, I was saying that ideally, if you're going to be incarnated on a planet of what appears to be physicality, the most fun things to do are physical things. And yet we have so much dis-ease. Ease sounds like ease and grace. But dis-ease is the opposite of ease and the opposite of grace. Someone said, no one is to blame. Everyone is in their circumstances. They're born into themselves. And, so you have to look within to figure out what's going on. Getting some sirens on that one. So if I look within, not too long because I'm walking, well, I'm still telling you, everything that's going on around you, some people say it's law of your vibration. I say that's bullshit. It is nothing to do with all of this garbage teachings. The Ascended Master Sananda told me this is a great play in consciousness. Well, if it's a play, why is it such a horrible, horrible play for most of us? Some people would say, well, you're always looking at the negative side because you keep saying it's horrible, horrible. But, the positive of it all is, I can't figure it out anymore. I turn within and all I get is things I've heard in the past. Memes, basically. The human meme machine. In the olden days they called them sayings or old wives' tales or something. But where it gets back to Viktor Frankl, who I mentioned in an earlier talk today. And it's the book he wrote was called Man's Search for Meaning. And if you're playing sports all day long and you're sleepy tired at nighttime, then you have a nice sleep. And you wake up and you're refreshed. In our world of insurrection against parasite, we don't sleep well. How do we cure ourselves of parasite? Okay, let's break down the word parasite. Para is like a semi. So if you think of paramedics aren't doctors, but they have some medical training. You have parachute, and I don't know what para means when it comes to parachute. Strange. I don't have any meaning to why do they say parachute? You could just say shoot. And sometimes that's what they do in shorthand. They just say, I jumped out of a plane and my chute opened at, 5,000 feet or what. I have no idea. But They say shoot. So why is the official name, the long form of the name, parachute? I have no idea. A semi-shoot doesn't make any sense. Halfway gone shoot? Nope. I don't know why it's called a parachute. Parasite. Site, the way it's spelled in parasite is S-I-T-E, which is a place. A site is a place. A historic site. If you change the spelling a little bit, you get sight, like what you see with your eyes. You're a sight to see. And if you break it down a little bit more, you hear the word sigh. You know, like sigh. And then they add a T on it. Sigh, T. That sounds like excited. I don't know. Wordplay. This is Jacques Derrida and Deconstructing English. So anyway, I can't figure out what this parasite is. I've read certain books about the parasite, and you know, it's a parasite in consciousness. Yesterday I was talking about mindsets and having a parasite mindset where you want other beings to be your slaves. How am I helping myself by talking about all these things? Okay, I'm back to this bisexual flag. If you remember, there was an unhappy Snoopy snowboarding. Okay, I'm going to give you a movie. David Jansen, the actor, played a character in the TV show, and then they made a movie with Harrison Ford, and it was called The Fugitive. Now it's getting too hot. So, what was it all about? He was accused of a crime he did not commit, and he was on the run because he felt like they were going to frame him. And he was going to go into prison for something he didn't do. So again, we come back to a tarot card called The Prisoner. I don't know what the Prisoner tarot card means. I have to go look it up.